So these are the functions that are available in Power BI, in right Microsoft Power BI, right? As part of the DAX, these are the time intelligence functions that are available. Apart from this, there are gamut of date functions that are available. So if you go to Microsoft website, you can find a lot of the date related functions. Okay. And here, but these are the important functions. You should be aware of it. Okay. And first of all, what is our time intelligence? What is time intelligence, and how do we, create the date dimension? The date dimension creation, we already discussed it. And how do we aggregate the data over time? And what is rolling period reporting and working with date slices, right? So how do you work with those things? We will take a look at it. Date slices also already I have covered it, but the important aspect is the aggregations, right? Rolling period reporting and different type of time intelligence functions. We'll take a look at it. Okay. So what exactly time intelligence? What is time intelligence? So why do we need to learn the time intelligence function? Because it is critical business intelligence methodology in which, right, the analysts they make an attempt to determine the progress or performance KPIs, key performance indicators, over a set period of time. Okay, weeks, months, quarters, or even years, right, can be included in this time frame. For example, if I ask you a question, let's say you are part of the sales department, how much sales we made compared to the previous year. So we want to compare the current year with sales with the previous year, or current quarter with the previous quarter, or current quarter with the previous year's quarter, like for like analysis. If you want to do it, right, so how will you do that? So how this, why should I know about this, and what is my current sales, current year sales versus the previous years? So why should I know that? This is basically to understand the trend. So where do we stand? Are we, so is that, our business is going up or going down, right, compared to the previous and current year, right? If there is a, decline in the sales, compared to the previous year, then it will help the analysts or the business people to further take a deep dive in understanding the underlying reasons behind the decrease. Okay, in case of any jump in sales, even in that case, it will help us, what was the game changer, right? So why we could see a tremendous spike in sales in a specific period. So what was the magic, right? So what kind of strategy that we used in that specific duration? Okay, so that is that's how it can help us, when you use the time intelligence functions, right? The business, or in general, they perform cumulative time based calculations, and like year to date, month to date, quarter to date, these are referred to as YTD and MTD, QTD in common. So these are the useful measures for trend analysis, for comparing sales and financial reports. Even in the case of stock market, they will be performing this one. So with these metrics, the stakeholders can evaluate the performance on the go. Okay, so these are the useful measures for trend analysis, like I said. Okay, so these are the time intelligence functions, are the go-to expressions for a Power BI developer. Okay, it helps us to measure patterns in business metrics over a period of time. For example, if you want to perform year on year, quarter on quarter, compared to last year, what is the sales, right? You can do it with time intelligence. So, okay, now let us understand what is MTD, month to date, quarter to date, and year to date first. Okay, so these are the aggregation functions. Okay, like I said, cumulative time-based calculations. So the management, they wants to see what is the month to date sales, quarter to date sales. Okay, a Jan month, we made so and so dollar, and Feb also we made so and so dollar, and let's say in the middle of the year 2022, middle of the year, let's say we are in the middle of 2022, the management wants to see, okay, not only the current month sales, and they wanted to see month to date how much sales we made, how much expenses we have incurred month to date. So first of all, what is month to date, quarter to date? Month to date is nothing but the period start from the beginning of the current month up until now, but excluding the today, okay? Because today is not yet over. The business is operating across the globe. In the case of companies that have a global presence, Walmart, all these things, right? So they operate across the globe. So in that case, customers are across the time zones, they are keep ordering the products. And hence, we cannot say today is over. Okay. So what we do is when it comes to month to date, starting from the beginning of this month to until yesterday, we need to take a total. Okay, that is what your month to date. For example, if the today's date is 9th Feb, then our month to date will cover which date? The data from the time period of 1st Feb to till 8th Feb. Okay, got it? And then what is this QTD? QTD also same, okay, but in this case, it is a quarter. The QTD stands for quarter to date, and it is used exactly the same way as month to date. From the start of this quarter until now. For example, you are in the March, you are in March 15th. Okay. And if they want to see the quarter to date sales, that means starting from the beginning of this quarter, Jan 1st to till the March 15th or so. Let's say March 15th, if they ask you the quarter to date sales again, right? So starting from the first quarter's first day to the one day before the current date. Okay. Next one is the year to date. It is same as this one. Okay, but here in this case, from the beginning of the current year up to what, but not including today. The same thing is applicable here also. Okay, this is what year to date, and then yeah, the month to date. So that is what we discussed, right? So when it comes to month date, it is a period starting from the beginning of the current month up until now, but not including today's date because it might not be complete yet. Okay, that is what the example I have given you here. The reason for not in the current because it might not be complete yet. This is the one you need to remember it. Okay. So here, if you see here, what exactly month to date will do. If you look at these columns, right? For example, date, orders placed. Okay, here this is the one 13th January. So your year to date is this one, something like that. Okay, and 14th January, what will happen? 697. This one. Okay, let us probably look at from here. Okay, month to date. If you see your month to date, this is the one, right? 767 plus 99 or 100, 867, 866, right? 86, 866 plus. It is doing the cumulative total here. Okay, so probably right. This is your previous year's closing balance. This closing balance, you need to add it with the current year's the opening balance because starting from 1st to January to 13th Jan 2013, nothing happened. And here, what you do is previous year's closing balance, you are adding it with this one. Okay, 767. Okay, 767. And then the next day, 99 will get added with this one. Okay, it will, right? So this is what your monthly days. If so, or this is your sorry, this is your yeah, this is your monthly. So look here. This is how it is getting added for this month because it's all belong to same month, the Jan data, right? And when it comes to Feb, what happens? If you look at the month to date, it gets reset. It is not doing the cumulative total. When the new month comes, okay, what happens? The total value will get reset. So this Feb 1st, the 75 orders got placed. Hence, the month to date on Feb 1st is the same as that month's sale, that month's orders, number of orders. And in second Feb, 75 plus 38, 113. And third Feb, there is no sales. Hence, the same value comes here. 113 plus 57 is 170. So every month beginning, it will reset the month to date value. If somebody is asking you what is the month to date sales on 25th or let's say 26th Jan, what is the sales? 40. How many orders we received? Yeah, sorry, how many orders we received? 40. But tell me the month to date orders, 1343. So in this case, this one give them an idea. So 26, even if they had got per day one order, per day, 10 orders, right? 260 orders. But it is good, right? So 1383. So they'll get, a fair amount of idea about this. If you know only this one, okay, with this you cannot decide. But according to me, it is a less. So how much less is less? Right, so if you see here this value 1383, but again you need to subtract this the previous year closing balance, and then you will get a fair amount of idea. But if somebody is asking on 20th January or 26th January, what is the month to date sales, you need to tell this one. For example, 28th January 1444, this is my month to date as of 28th January. This is my month to date sales as of 29th January. Hope you got an idea about this one, right? So there is a measure called M to date measure. The M to date measure calculates month to date. It calculates the running total number of orders for each month and resets as the month ends. Right. So as I explained, the values for month to date keeps on add up for the month of January, and then it gets resets as February starts. And the next one is the year to date, the same thing. Okay, so when the new year comes, right, it will keep, so year to date will keep add till the end of 2013. When it comes to 2014, the value will get reset. Okay, the 2014 Jan 1st, whatever salaries, right? So whatever the sale or orders that you received it, that one will be considered as your year to date value. So every new year, the value will be reset for your year to date. And similarly, every new quarter, the value will be reset. Okay, for in the case of quarter to date. Month to date, already we discussed it. So there are functions like total MTD and dates MTD is also available. So as right here, the first argument for this one is the expression. Okay, the first argument is expression, second was the dates, and then filter here. So, okay, now the question is, what is the, use of doing like this? It is very much helpful to identify trends and predict future requirements or behavior. Okay. Yeah, to compare the predict or behavior. Right? It all helps one to identify problems in the real time and enable them to undertake the course of the action then and there. Okay. Instead of postponing it, you will get to know then and there. Okay. In that kind of situation, the month to date is very much helpful. And the next one is the year to date. Year to date, as I said, but here month to date, there is a function called total MTD, and YTD or something called total YTD function is available. So like I said here, even this case, sum of sales, and then here what we do is the order date, comma. So this is your fiscal, okay, fiscal year to date. And year to date is the beginning of the current year up to, but not including today's date. And fiscal year to date, if somebody is asking you, right? So what will happen is every, in the case of India, all right, so the April 1st to March 31st, that is what your fiscal year. So every fiscal year beginning, in the sense for 1st April, the value will get reset. Got it? The fiscal year to date is the period starting from the beginning of the first day of the current fiscal year and ending the last day of the fiscal quarter, most recently ended. In this case, the last day of the fiscal quarter is 3/31, right? March 31. So the April month, right? The 1st April, the value will get reset in the case of fiscal year to date. That's all. That is what the difference. But in this case, you need to make sure that you need to specify this one at the end of this one, okay? The sum, the expression, and then the date column, and then the filter condition. But here, instead of filter, what we are doing is, this kind of, this one, this is an option here to specify, what is your, you need to specify in the month day format, okay? So this one, acts as a parameter. That means, right, at the end of the fiscal year is 31st March. Okay. And what is the next thing here? Okay, and the next one is month to date, Q to date, and YTD are all vital tools to help us identify trends and predict future behavior requirements or issues. Okay, for that purpose, we use these the time intelligence functions, these measures. Okay. So next one is when it comes to time intelligence, obviously you have to have a date table, separate date table. You need to have it. Without having a date table, you cannot perform time intelligence. It will not give you the accurate result. For example, without a date table, what happens? Your sales amount, purchase amount, two different columns are there. And if you want to do a filtering, what happens? You can do filtering with the year with sales amount and year with purchase amount. But if without date table, okay, if you do it with this itself, what will happen is it will not show the accurate. Maybe it will repeat the same value again and again. Sorry, it will repeat the same value again and again. Okay. So in that case, what happens is you need to do filtering separately 2 times. But if I want to have these two values together, then you need to have a date table, because date table will filter this column and also date table can filter this column. But whereas here it will filter this column, and when it filters, what happens, right? It will not give you the accurate result. And if you see this one, 96, this one, right, 2006 and 188, and all these values are displayed side by side with the help of the date table. Hence, date table is very much important. Just a quick recap, the date table, how we can create. We can use the calendar function on, or we can use the calendar auto function as part of the add columns function. The calendar auto function, what it does is it automatically goes and checks the recent date, the earliest date and the latest date, based on which, right, it is fetching it. Either you can use a calculate or it's a calendar auto, or you can use calendar. But in the case of calendar, it has to compute the minimum value, it is to compute the maximum value. Whereas in the case of calendar auto, as the name suggests, it automatically deducts the earliest date and latest date. You need not to compute this one. But again, you need to do a little bit filtering as part of the calendar auto. Okay. So this is the M code. You can use M script also to create the date table. Okay, this is your start date, end date. You need to specify it here. The fiscal month in this case, right? Duration days. So now the question is, do I need to aware of the M function also? Right. So you don't have to be aware of this one. Some extent, if you know, it will be good. But in the interview, they'll ask you what are the functions that are available with all functions that you've used it, right? You should be listed dot dates. You remember it, list dot dates, and the other things like rename columns, the basic things. If you remember it, that is enough. Okay. So this is a sample code for number of days in a year. A lot of functions, date related functions are available. Okay. So with that, you can do date related manipulation. This one will give the last day of the year. Okay, and if you want to extract the last day of the year, it can give you. And then if you want to find out the difference between the date, right, you can use a day-wise difference, month-wise difference. You can find out date diff, year, day of year. Okay, what is the day of the year? +1, you need to do it. Okay, so this is the full date and first day of the year, comma day +1, day of the year, and first day year. Right, so 001. So first you need to specify 2021, 01, 01. First day of the year it will give. Likewise, different functions are there. You can start practice those kind of functions. Okay. So what we will do is we will take a quick digression now before we jumping into the date function.